Promoter Eddie Hearn has announced that Anthony Joshua's second defense of his IBF heavyweight world title will be on November 26th this year, but it will not be at his usual home of the O2 Arena in London. And that has led many people to speculate on the potential opponents that it could be. Some people are saying, well, maybe it's going to be David Price in Liverpool. Other people are saying it could be this guy, it could be that guy. Some people saying it could be abroad. Eddie Hearn has said, we're changing city. That's what he did say. He didn't say anything about changing country as far as I'm aware. Now, is there any other reason apart from fighting an opponent from a different part of the country? You know, is there any other reason for Anthony Joshua to change venue? Well, it could just be a simple case of the fact they haven't secured an opponent yet for the O2, and the O2 need to know what they're doing, because there may be other people that want to book the venue. So rather than keep the O2 hanging, they've said, you know what, we'll have to give up that venue and start talking to other venues instead, because we can't keep the O2 on the hook like that. So the potential opponents are on screen right now. It has to be somebody from the IBF top 15. As you can see there, Joseph Parker's is mandatory. You got Pulev in at 2, Hay at number 3. And yeah, I'm going to come back to talking about Hay at number 3. Johan Duopa at 4. Andy Ruiz 5. Carlos Takam 6. Glasgow 7. Molina 8. Jarrell Miller 9. Charles Martin 10. Derek Chisora 11. David Price 12. Hughie Fury 13. Tepper 14. And Berman Stavern in at number 15. Now, we know that Parker's is mandatory. He could take that next. Could that happen at the MEN Arena? You know, maybe, possibly. One thing I can say about the MEN Arena is that it's bigger than the O2 Arena. So that might be another reason why they would leave the O2 to go elsewhere. Now, if he was to fight, some people have speculated that maybe he's fighting David Hay. If he was to fight David Hay, you would imagine they would try and make that fight in London, because both guys are from London. Well, ish. Watford is like on the outskirts of London. They're both from the south anyway. And some people were saying also that that's kind of a stadium fight rather than, a fight at the MEN. And that's, I think I would agree with that. Well, at the same time, the MEN hasn't been announced as a venue. So maybe it'll be a stadium fight in a different city. David Hay against Anthony Joshua. Who knows? Johan Duopa. Actually, you know what? Let me talk about this David Hay ranking. I know people are going to say, Hatman, you're a David Hay hater, this, that, and the other. But look, I have to just keep it 100% with you. How in the world did David Hay get a number 3 ranking in the IBF? You know, the IBF are normally sticklers for the rules. They stick to the rules and enforce their own rules strictly. But I have to call out BS when I see it. And David Hay getting a number 3 ranking from the IBF is BS. This guy just fought 2 opponents who, I mean, they were so bad. Those were literally 2 of the worst heavyweight contenders you will ever see in your life in a televised fight. Normally, those guys don't even get televised. Certainly not in the UK as, you know, major opponents for a major fighter. Or opponents for a major fighter on a big show. They were disgraceful level opponents. But somehow beating those 2 guys has got David Hay a number 3 ranking, higher than Johan Duopa. Didn't Duopa just beat Robert Helenius, a guy who would have wiped the floor with those 2 opponents that David Hay just fought? He did. He knocked Robert Helenius out, a guy who was way better than the guys David Hay just beat. So how the hell did David Hay leapfrog him? Terrible. I mean, even Eric Molina, I don't rate Molina that highly, but even Eric Molina beat a washed up Thomas Adamek in his last fight, who's still a hell of a lot better than the guys David Hay just beat. Jarrell Miller just beat Fred Cassie, although that was very recent, so I guess it can't be reflected in the rankings. David Price, Hughie Fury. You know, Hughie Fury just beat Cassie too, so he should be higher than David Hay. To be fair, there's not that many guys who have won fights recently in that top 15, and there's not many guys who have been active or have done anything recently. Kubrat Pulev obviously is higher than Hay, and he should be. Ruiz hasn't fought anybody. Takam just lost. Glaskov just lost. Charles Martin lost. Derek Chisora lost. David Price fought a journeyman. Erkan Tepa's coming back from a ban. Berman Staverne's coming back from beating Derek Rossi. But even Derek Rossi is better than the two guys David Haye just fought. So people, sorry to go on a tangent here, but IBF, you just shot yourself in the foot and you just gone down in my estimations after that. No way should David Haye be that high. But is David Haye's high ranking indicative of a potential Anthony Joshua fight? David Haye also tweeted recently. As you can see on screen, he tweeted, and that tweet seems to indicate that something good is happening in David Haye's life. Now, we know David Haye's going through some personal issues at the moment. And, I really don't care about his personal issues as long as they're not affecting boxing, which, I guess these particular personal issues they might affect his financial situation, might affect his emotional situation. We'll see. But that's a topic for another video. However, I've lost my train of thought here. But yeah, as you can see anyway on screen, David Haye has been tweeting some cryptic things. Could he be talking about an Anthony Joshua fight? I don't know. I just think it would maybe be a bit soon. Eddie Hearn had indicated previously that he wasn't really interested in Anthony Joshua fighting David Haye this year. He saw it as too risky. So I don't know. If it's not David Haye, who would it be? If it's not Eddie O2, as we know it's definitely not going to be, which venue will it be at and why? Again, some people have speculated it could be abroad, in America, this, that, and the other. Eddie Hearn hasn't said anything about that. But if it is in America, then it obviously is likely to be against an American opponent. And those potential opponents, Eddie Hearn says, will be decided in the next few weeks. The American opponents would be, who's there? Andy Ruiz is Mexican, but he's based in America, so he's possible. Eric Molina is based in America. Well, he is American, actually. A Mexican-American, so he's possible. Jarrell Miller, he's already beaten Martin, obviously. So then there's Berman Staverne, who again is a Haitian-Canadian, but based in America. I don't know. Staverne is still a possibility, even though he's been ordered to face Alexander Povetkin, because it's optional. If he wants to fight in that eliminator with Povetkin, or that for that interim title against Povetkin, he can choose to do it to get a crack at Wilder. But you don't have to. If you don't want that crack at Wilder, he can go elsewhere and take a straight crack at Joshua if it's offered to him. Although, in an interview that he did with Ingram Jones recently, he said he hasn't been offered anything by Eddie Hearn. And they've just thrown his name about. But then again, how much does Berman Staverne really know about the offers that come into his team? Maybe his management or Don King have been made an offer and not made him aware of it. I don't know. That's just pure, speculation right there. So let me know what you think, people. Who's Anthony Joshua going to fight next? Who should he fight next? Where's his next fight going to be? Do you have any intel on this? If you do, drop it in the comment section below. If you don't, let's speculate anyway. And we'll see who turns out to be correct in the end. All right? Drop your comments in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.